they don't have the engine anymore in LaMelo Ball, but this is still stylistically a Hornets team that can continue down the path that they were going down of being an extremely high volume 3-point shooting team. And you add pieces that I think really fit in addition to flexibility and draft capital moving forward. Grayson Allen has that player option that I think he's likely to pick up at $19.3 million, but that's not like he's grossly overpaid. He's a very good, like 6-man level player on a solid team, and I think he'll fit fine in Charlotte. So I love what the Hornets are doing. I love this combination of moves, particularly when we look at it through the lens of Miles Bridges was due an extension, and it didn't seem like the Hornets were interested in being the team to give it to him. So if that's the case, this is a guy that you're a year away from probably losing to free agency anyway, and you turn them into two players that fit, plus you improve your draft capital, your draft assets by getting a 2033 unprotected Suns pick. I think this is a no-brainer for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I really like the way they're trending here and the way that they're trying to build this out. And the long-term outlook, as long as they're healthy, I think this team should be pretty good, in a little bit. I also love them retaining Kobe White. But they were one of my favorite teams to watch last season. Now, LaMelo was a big part of that, but hopefully they're able to keep that trend going upward. But for the Suns, I actually also like the trade for the Suns for multiple reasons. It's a little bit tricky because you are giving up a pick that we don't know what's going on with that, how the league will look, will the league rules around draft picks change, et cetera.
Great point.
But regardless, though, while we don't know that, I do like how they got Bridges back, who's an awesome player, can be another scorer on this team. And similarly, I think it's interesting how they've established a culture around certain types of guys. They got him, they got Dylan Brooks over there. They should have kept Grayson Allen, but they got a bunch of hard-nosed, hard heads over there. That's what
the heel turn for the Phoenix Suns here.
So I like that too, and they're definitely trying to invest in Booker's tail end of his prime here, as he's like 30, 31, whatever. But they want to invest in Booker for the next few years and see how things go. Yes, time flies like crazy.
I was kidding. How is that? You just said Devin Booker is 30. Is that right?
Yeah, he's like 30 now, isn't he? Unless I'm wrong.
Gosh, you're right. He is going into his age 30. How is that possible? It feels like, gosh, I'm just old. It feels like yesterday. Devin Booker was like the young kid in the draft.
Yeah, heart of his prime, I should say. I don't want to say tail end, because that implies he burns out at like 32. But
players are playing longer than they have before. That's for sure. Okay. We need to talk about the Suns side of this and what this means for Phoenix. I just want to throw this in there. Bobby Marks noting that it's a massive trade exception already from the LaMelo trade. In other words, the Hornets may not be done. So I already like what they've done here. But when we talk about, the amount of draft capital they've got, plus that big trade exception from the LaMelo trade, they could wind up being another buyer on the market in another deal. So don't forget about them and assume that they're just finished here and maybe they took a bit of a step back losing LaMelo. They could wind up in the next couple of weeks being a buyer on something pretty big out there if and when it becomes available, because of now the draft capital that they've accumulated and that big trade exception that they got from the LaMelo trade. So this is the team to keep an eye on, and do not look at them as a finished product the way they currently sit. Phoenix, on the other hand, they can still do some things, still make some moves, but this is probably pretty close to what Phoenix is going to look like for next year. And we'll talk more about them in just a moment. First, a quick shout out to our sponsor. That is Prize Picks. You guys can check them out. Use that link in the description down below. The code, it's HMA. Play $5, get $50 instantly. I'm going to roll with the stars, Vinicius Jr. and Leo Messi. I'm going to say Jr. gets at least one shot on target, and Messi, shocker, he scores a goal. Come on, it's what the guy does. $10 entry fee, win you $15. You guys want to get in on it, use the link in the description. The code, it is HMA. Play $5, get $50 instantly. All right, let's jump to the Phoenix side of this. So the Suns wind up getting Bridges, who is a guy that they've been after for years now. They get Miles Bridges. They're going to have to give him a contract extension. They also get a earlier 2029 first round pick. So typically the farther out you go with picks, unless you already have a sense for one draft class being stronger than another, the farther out you go, the less valuable the pick is. So 2029, the 2033 unprotected is going to be more valuable than that 2029 first, but nonetheless, it does give the Suns a more near term first round pick to go get. Plus they get $20 million in tax savings. That certainly helps.
I was going to bring that up. I was like, oh, you're burying the lead here. That may be the most important part of this.
They save $20 million in taxes, plus open up a roster spot. So that gives them the ability to go do something else. Now, spending power wise, I don't project they're going to have a ton, but let me take a quick look at that after this trade gets completed. But Donnie, that tends to be the type of thing, though, that fans are going to, just as I kind of buried the lead on that, that's what fans do too, because frankly, we don't care how much money the owner saves. Yeah. I'm not worried about the pocketbooks of a billionaire.
Yeah, it's in that tweet because that was a key point of this trade.
Absolutely.
Because that wouldn't be in the, like Shams did that the other day where he put out that one tweet. Who was on Hartenstein?
No, Hartenstein
like, bro, what are we doing here?
You know exactly what that was, Donnie. You know exactly what that was all about. That Shams tweet that didn't make it added up the total amount of money that Isaiah Hartenstein had made. That was not wanting to suggest in that tweet that he took a pay cut, that his pay decreased, which it absolutely did. Everybody knew what was happening, but it sounds better to an agent and for an agency if you put it out there the way that Shams did.
Shams is being a mouthpiece. He's being a mouthpiece here.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that may be the most important part of all of this from them organizationally. But frankly, I'm always astounded by their ability to keep making moves when we thought they didn't have any more moves to make a couple of years ago. They keep finding a way to do something else. So, but like I said, though, I do like the addition of Bridges, and I think that guy's like a 20-point per game scorer. He can score from anywhere on the court. Mm-hmm. He's a really good player out there. He could be a bit volatile like some of these other guys, and they've got a lot of it because I didn't mention Jalen Green either. Oh my God, they've got a lot of guys that can shoot you in and out of games.
Hey, if they get a couple of those guys to be cold,
oh man,
it's not going to be a fun night for Suns fans. But the flip side is also true. You get a game where your guys are hot, game over. Chalk up a win.
Because Dylan Brooks going to do that too. He's going to put up his 15 shots tonight. But yeah, they keep making moves. They didn't have many assets, draft picks, et cetera, to make, and they waived Beal and kept on moving. So I do like that a lot for them.
So $208 million now in projected salary, according to Bobby Marks, and the second apron's at $222 million. They open up a roster spot. What that effectively means is that they can trigger that hard cap at the first apron, or I'm sorry, at the second apron, and they could use the taxpayer MLE for that, which will give them about $6.1 million to go use. I believe they have already triggered that second apron hard cap. So you do that, and you've got now a roster spot and $6 million to spend. So we got to think about this trade as not just the Suns get Miles Bridges, the Suns also out of this get $6 million to go spend out there in the marketplace. So who knows who that winds up being, who they could get, but whoever that player is, we kind of have to factor that player into this trade, which I think only increases the value from the Suns side of things. You get an explosive athlete, Miles Bridges, a guy who could shoot the corner three. I didn't have the best season shooting the three overall in terms of efficiency last year, but can score plenty of points, should fit in with the Suns offense. I have questions about, defensively, you gave away two of your tenacious perimeter defensive pieces in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, and you turn it into Miles Bridges, whose defense can kind of wax and wane. So I do have some questions about how he fits into this Phoenix Suns identity that they've now crafted, but scoring certainly can check that box for you, gives you more offensive upside for sure. And then we'll see what they do with this roster spot and the taxpayer mid-level. I'm worried about what that 2033 pick could be for Phoenix.
Yeah.
That could, we don't know the cost of that. Maybe they're great by that point. They're awesome. And this is the last pick in the draft. Unprotected though, that's always a risk. But other than that being my only real hesitation here, I do like this move for the Suns, assuming they've decided they do want to be the team to give Miles Bridges his next contract.
Yeah, that's the other piece of this all, is that they've got to pay him after this, which is kind of interesting given their books, because they got to pay Jalen Green too. Like, are they just gonna let these guys come off the books? Or
and Dylan Brooks extension eligible, Jalen Green and Miles Bridges.
Like, what are we doing here? Now, beyond that, I do like the look of the roster. They've got a lot of guys on cheap deals. Mark Williams, Gillespie, these guys, they got some great value signings this summer. And then Devin Booker is slotted as a max player, fine. But, like, it's going to be kind of tricky to bring back all three of those guys at reasonable numbers. When Jalen Green's already at 36, maybe you can bring him down a little bit, but I'd imagine the two forwards want to come up a little bit too based on the year they may have as well. So it gets a bit tricky when you're trying to not be a second apron team as well, too.
That's the hard part. They're going to be right there up against it. And now, I mean, I guess it does give them, they now have a 2029 first they could potentially put into a trade if they found something else they needed to do. But there's probably not a lot of moves here for the Suns to make now that they've brought back their own guys. Again, they will get somebody. The money's there's only so much cap space out there. The money will dry up and somebody is going to take a $6 million non-taxpayer mid-level. Like, imagine if that turns into like a John Collins or somebody like that they can get with that $6 million. I'm not suggesting that he's worth that. No, I'm saying once the money dries up, there's going to be, it's musical chairs. The music stops. There's going to be a few people left standing without a place to go that either has a mid-level or is willing to use a full mid-level. And that's where the Suns can swoop in, I think, and get some value with that $6 million taxpayer.
John Collins is a great shout because he would fit exactly into what they're trying to build here.
Yeah.
He's a great shout.
Donnie, I love John Collins. For years, he has been my irrational love for a player way back to when he was with the Hawks. And I think he'll be a good get for somebody this summer that could come on a bargain. Overall, though, this is an interesting trade. And I think it really makes sense for both of these teams to do it. A bit more risk involved in the Suns side with that to unprotect that 2033 first, especially like you said, Donnie, we don't know what the rules are going to be in 2033. They're going to get reevaluated in 2029. We have no clue what the rules are going to be when the Suns, in terms of the anti-tanking measures expiring in 2029. So we don't know what that's going to be. But I like Miles Bridges for the Suns. It's got to be a responsible contract, though, whatever you're going to extend him for. And I would imagine the Suns, through back channels or whatever, tamper away, probably already have a sense of what it is that Miles Bridges is looking for in his next contract. So I would keep an eye out for that next, an extension for Miles Bridges. I'm really curious to see what number that comes in at with the Suns. But assuming they can do that at a reasonable value deal there, I think this makes some sense for them.
I mean, we may be in the upside down in 2033.
Who knows?
Maybe the good teams are the ones getting the good picks by that point. I don't know.
Right.
I have no clue what's happening with the way things look now. So that's why, like, if I was a GM, I'm like, I'm not trading any picks post this current agreement that we have. I just can't in good faith.
That's why those picks, I think, actually go up in value because so few teams are going to be willing to part with them because we don't know what the rules are going to be. Because
of that, though, does that mean that? So we're talking about Bridges extension, the other guys need extensions too. Is it defensible in some way? Because they also got back the 29 with the salary in mind. Is it defensible if they say, Bridges, we're going to let you walk? Do they have to retain him?
I just don't they've been after him for so long. Mm-hmm. I don't see the value of the trade. Otherwise, now Grayson Allen does have another year at $19 million, so you're shedding that off of your books.
I believe
at least you're getting that done. But
I think both players had another year on the books. Didn't Royce O'Neal have another year too?
No, Royce O'Neal was expiring.
Okay.
So you did, but you moved off of the. Where will they be at? Yeah, right now without Bridges, they're $15 million below the second apron. That just doesn't give them that much spending power. They do have a bunch of club options on Kaman Maluach, Ryan Dunn, but let's face it, they're picking those up. Oso Ighodaro, they're not losing any of those guys. Those guys are too good. You're picking up all those team options, absolutely. So if him expiring would at least open up the full MLE or something like that for them, or would it open up cap space? Just it wouldn't get them there. Right now, as they presently sit, that would only get them, they'd be 15 million below that second apron. Now, that's one thing they have to be careful of, is that whatever they give Bridges doesn't kick them over the second apron next year. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's where things get a little bit tricky, because we got to stack up those new salaries for Mark Williams, Colin Gillespie, plus what does Dylan Brooks come in at? The Suns could accidentally get kind of expensive here. You almost have to try to figure out a way to get Jalen Green off of this $36 million deal. And maybe they already...
He's taking it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Maybe you already have an extension in mind that can bring that, kind of like what the Thunder did with Hartenstein. Can you bring this number down, increase the years, and bring that number down? That is, that's a good call out by you, Donnie, because this is going to be something to watch. Is the Suns, not this year salary wise, next year? What happens? Because that's a lot. $61 million for Devin Booker. You don't have another max player. But assuming they keep Bridges, Brooks, you already have Jalen Green at $36 million. That's going to stack up real quick, especially when you have Mark Williams, Colin Gillespie, all these guys that all deals that we said were positive value deals. But when you add it all up, guess what? You're a second apron team once again.
Yeah. So I think that's where I wouldn't be surprised, to my question earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a world out there where they don't bring him back or maybe even Brooks back, because they don't really have a choice with Green. But one of those two, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not on the roster. Or maybe they trade Green at some point.
Sure. All right, everybody. Well, give us your thoughts on the trade in the comments down below. We appreciate all of you being here. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Till next time, see ya and stay safe. An update on Austin Reeves' free agency. Is a sign and trade potentially an option? Where could he ultimately land, or is he just back with the Lakers? Plus, Kawhi Leonard, will the Clippers really move him? And Trey Murphy may be more available than we previously thought. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications as well. Everything's crazy this time of year. I love this time of year around the NBA. Make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications as well so you get notified every time we drop a new video. Joining me as always, Donnie Freeman. Donnie, man, today there is so much stuff out there about what's going to happen in the draft coming up, free agency, the trade market. Gotta love this league.
Yeah, man, this is definitely what we have been waiting for. It got a little bit quiet in there during the later stages of the playoffs, but it's pretty fun that we have this now.
A little quiet.
Oh my God.
We are still waiting for the results of the aspiration scandal as well. But I couldn't resist.
Keeps on giving. That one right there is just that one's gone like platinum. It needs to be up in a shrine somewhere. Cool.
I'm gonna somehow hang it on the wall behind me. That's for sure. All right, let's talk about, is he Austin Reeves or is he Austin Leaves? Let's go there first. After entering, this is from Michael Scott of Hoops Hype. Man, I need to figure out, the ultimate would be to find some way to turn Leaves also into a tree pun, because Leaves, and combo that with a Kawhi situation.
All you have to do is oh my God, if he got traded there, that would be insane. You could have so many puns off that.
Oh, my brain would just explode in that moment. All right. After entering the league as an undrafted free agent, Austin Reeves rose into an all-star candidate, and he's going to decline his $15 million player option. Dan Wojcicki wrote about a week ago that the Brooklyn Nets are expected to offer Reeves a 4-year max deal that would come in 4 years, about $178 million, and also reported the Atlanta Hawks and Detroit Pistons are interested in pursuing Reeves. Well, Scotto pours some cold water on that. Here's what he has to say. The Atlanta Hawks want to retain CJ McCollum. Plus, they're figuring out what to do with Jonathan Kuminga. For now, the chances of the Hawks being considered a real player in the sweepstakes for Reeves are considered low. Okay, so Atlanta may not be a real landing spot for Austin Reeves. Meanwhile, Detroit, they're going to be working with Jalen Duren in order to come to a new deal. And Detroit would require some serious acrobatics in order to give some kind of a real offer to Austin Reeves, because they've got Dennis Jenkins that they would want to pick up. They've got cap holds. They'd have to move on from Tobias Harris. They reportedly don't want to do that. In other words, Detroit is seen as a not ideal fit in terms of making all the math work to go get Austin Reeves. So Brooklyn has Reeves on their radar and has the clearest path to offer him a max salary. Also noteworthy that Luka is a close friend of Reeves and a huge advocate of the Arkansas native. Ultimately, there's a strong belief within league circles that if the Lakers offer Reeves close to or the full max, he'll stay in Los Angeles. However, if the Lakers submit a lowball offer, Reeves will consider other offers, and the possibility of a sign-and-trade could also emerge. Okay, so Donnie, that was a lot, but the gist of this is it's sounding kind of like it's Brooklyn or nobody in terms of being able to give Austin Reeves a true max offer. There are teams that could get there, like Detroit, like Atlanta, but they're seen as unlikely because of the different gymnastics they would have to work through in order to make something like that happen. The Chicago Bulls, Scotto notes later on in the article, despite having the most cap space in the NBA, they're expected to absorb salaries via trade and really focus on a rebuild rather than go be a big spender on the market. So in terms of teams that can actually offer Austin Reeves max money, it's Brooklyn and the Lakers, and that's it. So from the Lakers side of things, I think that's a positive, though it does take just one. If the Brooklyn Nets decide to come with a max offer, that obviously could put the Lakers in a tough spot, but it does appear that the landing spots for Austin Reeves, unless they do go through a complicated sign and trade route, there doesn't appear to be many.
Yeah, and aside from a sign and trade, would any of those teams even be interested in targeting Austin, not because of the player is, but because of the belief that he'll wind up trying to stay in LA anyway, right? So teams oftentimes will stay away as a result.
Yeah, it's almost like a mini restricted free agency effect here, where teams won't go near RFAs because they know your chance of getting them away from their incumbent team is so small. Austin has been linked to the Lakers for so long, has been so very clear that he wants to be a Laker and the Lakers want to bring him back. So if you're another team, you feel like you're wasting your time if you're having a conversation with Austin Reeves, knowing that he wants to be a Laker. I think that's a challenge as well. Now, again, it only takes one. Dameron Sharp shares an agent with Austin Reeves, so there's already a connection there with Brooklyn. Maybe they do offer that max, but it's sounding, this to me has the ring of truth to it, that the Nets, whoever else could be out there, are really just kind of a safety net in the event that the Lakers try to mess around too much with Austin Reeves.
Yeah, and if you're in that situation, if you're the Lakers, obviously you don't lowball him, but you can understand that too. And let's test, how much, one, he wants to stay, and two, there was that quote from him early in the year where he said, he doesn't want to take something that doesn't make sense. Well, let's see how that looks, Austin. Like, are you angling for a 40 million? Can we reach a common ground? I know this number stuff is always really, as fans are.
Is that what a other team can offer him, which is 4 years, 178 million with 5% raises, or is that what the Lakers can offer him, which is 5 years, 240 million? Because those two things are very, very different. If this is the ideal scenario, if he wants that 4-year level money, I think the ideal scenario to land at for the Lakers, while still giving Austin the money that he wants, that 178 million, would be to say, okay, we'll do 178 million, but 5 years. We'll do it over 5 years. And then you're talking about a $35 million average annual valuation. And then you're saying, hey, we're matching the amount of money that another team could offer. And that's where I know they get ripped a lot, by myself included, for giving player options. But you say, we'll even make the 5th year a player option. So if you really want to opt out at that point, then you can do that. Is that ultimately where this settles? I think that's maybe an interesting path to go down.
Is a 33-year-old Austin on 35 million probably a good deal? It's hard to project that far out, right? So
can you use the fact that he is on has a cap hold at 21 million? Can you use that to make the salary actually decline? If they're a cap space team, right? Make it so that the total is 178 million or 180 million, Paul, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But it starts high and drops down by the year. So by the time you're talking about a 32-year-old Austin Reeves, he's not making that. He's making something that's like 15% of the cap instead of 25%.
Yeah. And then also, like you were just saying, percentage of the cap, I was going to bring that up because we would expect for the salary cap to keep on rising as we go into those years. So that deal will just look better and better unless he obviously deals with a bunch of injuries and things like that. Then we come to the end of this and say, oh, great, he has a player option, right? That happens sometimes too. So I think they'll figure things out though. And I think that he'll wind up staying. I don't expect a low ball offer or anything like that. Luka's basically said, bring this guy back. And I think that's going to be one of the most important things in negotiations. And if you're Austin, you could say, hey, Luka and I have a great relationship, and he wants me back. So
that may be the strongest card in his hand in that situation.
Exactly, especially given that the Lakers are not yet, but they're certainly going to have to start considering Luka's future as well in the next couple of seasons here. And how happy would he be versus how disappointed would he be if they lost Austin?
So the Brooklyn Nets being a threat to come in with a full max offer, they may not. Mark Stein had that report the other day that the Nets might be looking to sign shorter term deals and not do anything long term.
Yeah. And
if that's the case, okay, there's some buzz about them maybe trying to go after Kobe White as well. Like if they land Kobe White, would they be a suitor for Austin Reeves? Probably not. So there's a lot in here where I think when we look at this, why is suddenly, well, you could do a sign and trade, I guess. I think it's because, as Scotto is laying out, the realistic non-Lakers landing spots for Austin Reeves are not that plentiful. Teams would love to have him, but in terms of teams that can just give him cap space and here you go, here's your big max contract, there's just not a whole lot of options out there.
Yeah, the walls are kind of closing in on the options, and I don't see why Brooklyn would mostly be involved anyway, just because I think that would be taking them the opposite way. They need to get some more young guys in, keep the development going. They drafted like 5 guards last year. Maybe let those guys get some burn. I don't know that they need to add a max salary Austin to the rotation unless he could carry you to mediocrity just like Trey yesterday. So
maybe that's the goal now. You got to get to mediocrity. That's what you need. Aim for the middle.
It's so crazy. So
you'll get a high pick.
So I don't know why they'd be in otherwise, unless that's the case personally.
Happiness is choosing the best seats.
Let's talk a little bit about the Kawhi Leonard. Big update on the Kawhi Leonard situation in terms of the trade front, not the aspiration front. But that should be coming. I feel like that should be any day.
Gotta be.
We get an update on what's going to happen with the Clippers and aspiration, but that's not the update here. This is more about Kawhi and the trade front, plus Trey Murphy, more available than we thought. This could be really, really interesting. We're going to get to that in just a moment. First, a quick shout out to our sponsor. That is Prize Picks. The World Cup been so much fun. Team USA playing again on Friday against Australia. We've got England playing today. Exciting stuff going on. I'm going to go here with Harry Kane more than or a shot on target. Harry Kane, I'm going to say he gets at least one. And then Luka Modric, I'm going to say that Modric, apologies, should get more than one shot effectively here. So that's what I'm going to go with. $10 entry fee, win you $16. You guys want to get in on it, use the link in the description down below. The code is HMA. Play $5, get $50 instantly with Prize Picks. We appreciate them sponsoring the channel. Go check them out. Again, that link is in the description down below. Okay, check this out. So this is a report from Anthony Slater of ESPN about it's focused on the Golden State Warriors. It's focused on the Warriors and their options to try to improve this team. Kawhi Leonard is mentioned as an option, but check this out. They tried to get Kawhi. Team owner Steve Ballmer said no. League sources said Ballmer has maintained a firm stance against a Leonard trade, preferring to continue building around his star forward. We've talked about for a while that the Clippers could be moving on from Kawhi this summer. And we've mentioned, Donnie, you brought this up quite a bit in the past, that Ballmer has long been against shedding Kawhi Leonard or trading him. Mm-hmm. If that stance continues, Kawhi's market may not exist at all. We've talked about Kawhi as being a fallback option for teams post Giannis trade. If Ballmer simply refuses to trade him, that's it. He owns the team. If he says no, it's over. That's done, right? That tree is fallen. If Ballmer says he won't trade Kawhi, then all we know is Kawhi didn't plant that tree.
God damn it! Give him a break, damn it! That's like 5 times in this video.
I can't help it. I can't stop myself. Is this the right stance to say no? We will not trade Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, it just kind of depends. I think so. It's unfortunate because it's been dragging and dragging for so long. But truly, when you talk about anything this team will be doing, especially Kawhi based, you have to consider the aspiration stuff. So, like we've talked about, Ballmer doesn't really want to trade him, and I would expect him to keep that stance. However, if I'm another team, I'm not really interested in trading for him anyway. Not until I know what's going on. And that could, I mean, we're saying it could be any day now. We're hoping. Adam Silver had that quote recently.
Yeah.
What if it drags for another couple months? What if it drags into training camp and in the season, all that stuff? Who knows, man? So I think that matters too. But in terms of just strictly the Clippers, in terms of Ballmer, should they be looking to keep Kawhi? I mean, if they're able to add to this team, like we talked about them getting potentially Jaylen Brown a couple days ago, and I can definitely see them being right there in the mix. I mean, they were really good. We talked about how good Kawhi was with some of the guys that they have here, like Derek Jones, Garland, if they're able to retain their free agents as well this summer and add to this team, that'd be great. But if they're not able to add to this team and they're just kind of effectively running this back, I think they have to figure out what's going on with Kawhi in the last year of his deal. Does he want to re-sign? Do they want to re-sign him? Do they want to sign up for more years of the Kawhi drama, if you will? I think these things matter. But in the short term, it probably is for the right decision unless you get the right package, I guess, to hold on to Kawhi and not trade him and keep building things out. The tricky thing is that he's 35, injury-prone history, and he's in the last year of his deal. So what would you realistically get back?
That's true, right? If you're not getting the kind of value that you want, then maybe you are better off just hanging on to him. You have the 5th pick in the draft. Maybe you can add an interesting young talent there. There's a number of guys they're being linked to. We talked about the Jaylen Brown situation, but there was a report out this morning that the Clippers would not entertain or maybe it was late last night. It's all blurring together. But that the Clippers are enjoying their youth movement and would prefer to not trade for Jaylen Brown and would not give up the 5th pick. It's funny, Donnie, like, as soon as this time of year, as soon as news comes out to say, oh, the Clippers could be in on Jaylen Brown with the 5th pick, you get a response from, and you can kind of read between the lines about where it's coming from, right? Typically from that team saying, no, we wouldn't. No, because nobody wants anybody else to know what it is that they're really up to. So you got to put out counter information as soon as something comes out. So for example, hey, Jaylen Brown could turn into the 5th pick could be available in this kind of deal. Well, that could be coming from the Celtics side, though the Celtics also have to be careful putting out there that, you've seen a bunch of Celtics media members say stuff like, oh, no, they're not really shopping Jaylen Brown. They wouldn't really, they haven't put Jaylen Brown on the table in a Giannis trade because they need to be able to go back to Jaylen Brown and go, buddy, well, we were never going to trade you. That was crazy. Just stupid report, right? They need to be able to do that. But they could be floating out there that, oh, yeah, we could get we could get the 5th pick for Jaylen Brown, right? Does that put pressure on teams that might have the 9th pick or whatever? Shout out Mavs. And say, hey, you would need to up your offer. Could it be from the Bucks? Like the Bucks saying, hey, the 5th pick could be at play here. Then if you're the Clippers, you don't want anybody thinking you're going to trade that pick for Jaylen Brown. So you got to respond and say, no, we're not doing that. Anyway, the tangled web of the NBA rumor mill and the leaks and the counter leaks and all of that. I love this stuff, Donnie. I love the leverage game and the negotiation and all the back and forth.
Was that a Spider-Man reference?
That was.
Aren't they dropping a trailer today or something like that? No,
it is a brand new day. They're dropping a trailer that I think everybody saw like a week ago.
Yeah. That one was out there. You could. I didn't watch all of it because I was like, I can't do it with this quality. But it was out there. So.
Oh no, Donnie.
I couldn't do it.
No,
I couldn't do it, man.
No. It's not that.
Oh my God, what happened?
Something just got aggregated that you are not going to like.
Get 12 months of your whitest.
Facts. Oh God damn.
Oh no.
Just wrap it up. Jesus.
I do still believe he will be moved this offseason, but I'm not as certain as I was before that it'll be done before the draft.
Oh my God. I'm so
Chris
tired
Haynes.
Oh, and I mean, it can't just be me, right? Like, it can't just be me. Everyone's gonna be at this point, like, bro, come on.
Donnie, we've talked about leaks and counter leaks and all of that. Who is this coming from?
I mean,
the Bucks.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That's what this is. This is, we don't love the Heat's offer just yet. Boston's kind of hemming and hawing. We got to figure out what we're doing here. So let's, there's a lot of thought that the clock is ticking, that the Bucks need to get it done before the draft. Well, the draft is coming up. Are there teams that are saying, well, hey, you got a deadline. You got to get it done before the draft. Here's our best offer. You better take it now. Makes sense for the Bucks to go, actually, we don't need to do anything right now. If there's ever a moment where a team needs to do something, that is used as leverage against them, right? Yeah. That is used against them, then they have to pay the price for that. If a team can have a guy who's a decent contract, okay contract, but if they need to move that contract, there's often a small price to pay for doing that. Whereas if another team comes calling, asking for that guy, that's a different situation. So teams don't like having it out there that they need to do something by a certain time, because then teams will know that they just need to wait and they'll ultimately pull the trigger on something. So it's funny though that now it's, well, maybe we won't trade him. I still think he gets traded by the draft. Yeah. But if I'm the Bucks, I want it out there. I want to make sure everybody knows, hey, we don't get the offer that we want. We'll just wait. We'll keep waiting. Yeah. But let's not do this.
You got my initial raw reaction, because quietly behind the scenes, I've been lamenting the fact that we have all this back and forth with the Giannis stuff. Like, bro, what are we doing? It's just every day it's a new counter. Oh, we're doing this. Oh, wait, no, we're not. Oh, we're doing that. Oh, he loves this.
Boston's in the lead. No, Miami's in the lead.
Oh my God. Like, it's just back and forth. I feel like they're just pump faking at the 3-point line nonstop. It's driving me nuts.
The button is stuck. They can't actually shoot.
Oh, that made me think of that one where Josh Giddey was on the 3-point line and Luka just is like, what? Like, he had that bug face. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip, but that was a really good one. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. That's a really good clip of Luka. Yeah, I think this still gets done. I mean, Mark Stein was on a podcast, I think 2 days ago or so, saying that he still expects this to get done. And if it doesn't get done, we're going to have a lot more intel by the draft about what's happening with this. So I think this is coming to a conclusion. And the Bucks have been operating this whole time. We had a lot of reports about them operating like they have multiple picks and all that stuff. I think they're expecting that to be concluded. And then back to the owner, right? Last offseason or whatever, saying that they'd like to trade him basically by this point if he doesn't sign the extension. So I think everything's kind of leading there.
This is a last gasp from the Bucks to try to get, hey, can you throw in a second? Can you throw in another second round pick or something like that? Right. That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I would, at this point, honestly, I'd be surprised if he's still on the Bucks post, draft and all that stuff into July.
Agreed.
Also, into July is doing a lot of lifting, because what if it's like July 2nd or something? Like, that's just like just after the draft or whatever. So
sure, but still, the point is that let's say the Heat are involved and the 13th pick is involved. Well, the Bucks are going to want to make that pick. Yeah. They're not going to want, every team has their own list. Who the Bucks would want at 13 may be different than who the Heat would want at 13, and probably is different. So if the Heat were to make that pick and then say, oh, we can just trade that guy a week later, that may not be the player that the Bucks wanted. That's why you want to get it done ahead of the draft. So the Bucks, it could still be Miami technically making, and probably would be Miami making the pick, but they need to be making it for the Bucks. That's where you get the hat shenanigans, where the guy on draft day, Kobe's wearing the Hornets hat and everything like that, that type of situation.
Yep, exactly.
All right, let's jump over to Trey Murphy. So Anthony Slater also had this is going to raise some eyebrows around the league. Pelicans wing Trey Murphy could be more obtainable this transaction cycle, league sources said. Murphy, all we've heard is that the Pels have a super high asking price. Murphy is a player the Warriors front office has circled for years as a prime wing who fits a need. The Kerr system, and at 25 accomplishes the goal of getting younger. The Pelicans have clung to him tightly, but league sources said New Orleans has been signaling a desire to jump into the first round of next week's draft. The Warriors have the 11th pick and control of their future first. So Trey Murphy, we've been hearing, 3 firsts may not even be enough for Trey Murphy to move from the Pelicans, and the Pelicans don't want to move on from their guys. And we've talked all about how the Pels see themselves as secretly a good team. They've just dealt with injuries. all of that, right? That they're not a typical rebuild / retool team, or at least that's not how they see themselves. Well, if the Pels do want to get into the first round, your ability to do that is probably going to come around either a Herb Jones or a Trey Murphy trade. Those are the guys, assuming you don't want to move on from Jeremiah Fears or Derek Queen. And Yves Missi, at best, we're probably talking about a late first. And that's at best. So we're really looking at, DeJounte Murray coming back from injury. He's not going to have that kind of value. We're talking Trey Murphy here or Herb Jones if they want to make that kind of a jump. If you were the Warriors and you could give up 11 and a future first, because 11's got a lot of value, I think, in this year's draft. If you can give up 11 and a future first plus salaries to make it work, would you do that to get Trey Murphy?
Yeah.
I would do it.
Yeah, easy.
I would do it.
I mean, it's been kind of weird because they've not really wanted to trade him, and that's basically what the offers have been saying, like what they've been wanting. But they've been asking for damn near like a Bane style trade where it's like 3 firsts, 4 firsts.
That's really what they want.
Yeah, like they've been asking for that for him this whole time, and he's on such a great contract. He's such a good player. I think he'd really show out if he was in a number of places, but I think he'd really do so in Golden State in their system. He's like an ideal fit. So yeah. If they can get him and have him be a part of this team and this core that hopes to try to win, I couldn't say the other word, a title here in the next couple of years during the Steph Curry phase here that they have remaining, I think that'd be a great pickup.
So they are, I think it would make sense for the Warriors. There's going to be some good players in this draft at 11. Mm-hmm. The question is, do the Pelicans, are they willing to cash in order to get 11 plus a future first? I mean, and that'd be interesting.
Frankly, we should ban the Pelicans from making draft day trades, actually.
After the Derek Queen trade?
Yeah, like actually, that's what we should be talking about. Because what did that pick turn into again?
It turned into the 8th pick. It could have been a lot worse. Okay. But the 8th pick, I mean, that could wind up being a really good guard, or it could be a big. Could be Mara, right? The big center could wind up going there. Could be like Kingston Fleming, something like that. I don't think Darius Acuff drops that low, but could. No, I mean, it could still wind up in this draft. That's still going to be a very good player, although not for a little while there. We were like, the Pels are going to give up like the number one. It's going to be like AJ DeBonsa for Derek Queen. AJ DeBonsa plus, I don't recall who it was that was selected at 20. What was it, 22 or 23?
Yeah.
In order
I like
to get that
DQ
pick.
too, though. DQ is awesome.
He's very good,
and I like how his name is like literally Dairy Queen, except it's not. But it is.
Dairy
it's great.
Queen, Dairy Queen.
It's great. It's great.
The target was correct. The price was wrong. Yeah. That's the big thing for the Pels with Derek Queen. Although I question the Queen and Zion fit. Like you notice, I mentioned the Pels trade options and didn't mention Zion at all.
Yeah.
It's amazing how he's kind of become the afterthought on this team to a degree in terms of like players that teams would want in a trade, whereas a few years ago, teams would have given anything to get Zion Williamson. But I do look at Trey Murphy and think that's a guy that would fit the Warriors very well. If it's true, if the Pelicans are getting more realistic and we're talking about like 2 firsts instead of 3 firsts, and one of those firsts is a lottery pick, okay, like I think a Trey Murphy trade suddenly becomes very realistic. And if you're the Warriors, you have to strongly consider that, especially since you've got Steph Curry and you've got a reason to go try to win right now. Adding Trey Murphy would certainly help you in that endeavor. So that's really interesting that suddenly he is more obtainable because of perhaps the quality of this draft, and the Pels looking to add a first-round pick that they don't have because of the Derek Queen trade that they made last year.
Yeah, and again, he's on a great deal. He's only 26. I mean, damn. Trey would be a nice pickup for the Warriors or for any team, really.
Anybody.
Great pickup. Similarly, though, I wonder if he's moved. Herb is also on the market because they were asking for the same stuff for Herb. So I wonder if he's on the market as well. Now, I'm less enthusiastic about acquiring Herb because the 3-point shooting element of it all. But if he could be had, that would be interesting for them. And, I think they've got a good enough team to reach that sweet spot in the standings this year if they're healthy, which they've struggled with for the last few seasons. But ideally, they also get into the season and look to move off both those guards. So there could be a pretty big full-on shake over, makeover, whatever with this team.
Shake up.
Shake up. There it is. Shake up with this whole roster. It's like, wait, there's a shake word in there.
Just shake it off.
I actually heard that song this morning. I was like,
Did you?
oh my God, my kids are so young, but now they're old enough to listen to freaking Taylor Swift.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, I'm still stuck in Let It Go land. So my daughter still loves.
Your daughter's older than mine, though.
I know, and she still loves that. She'll listen to different soundtracks and stuff and things of that nature. She likes all of that stuff. But then there's some other. She started to pick up a few things. There's a few songs that I've played for her without telling her how old it is, and she's liked it, and she starts dancing and stuff. And then I tell her how old it is, and then she's like, that's from the 80s. I don't like that, like whatever. All right. We appreciate all of you for joining the show today. Please make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts. Trey Murphy if he's more available, what does that do to the trade market? The breaking apparent news that we got there about Giannis, how concerning is that to you? Plus Austin Reeves, are the options for him to land with actually dwindling? And what does that mean for the Lakers and for Austin's chances of returning? And then, of course, the Kawhi Leonard situation. Where does all that land? And guys, there's a ton more. We're going to start doing some live shows coming up here as we get to the free agency period and all that, because there's a ton out there for us to cover, a lot of things to talk about here. So again, make sure you do hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications. So if we do go live with breaking news or anything like that, you're going to get notified as soon as we go live. You can jump in and join the show. Thank you again, everybody. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.
Your home is your happy place.
Divine smile on you, friend. There's beauty here unmatched in all of Skyrim, to be sure. Very good, sir. Farewell.
What is it? I'm on it.
I wonder what the ancient Nords did in these ruins. Unspeakable sacrifices, maybe?